Yo, 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 what's cracking, everybody? Today, I'm bringing you yet another episode of Reflective Heads and Bad Jokes. Now, on the real though, I just kind of wanted to make a quick little video to showcase one of my favorite new features in FL Studio 21. And without messing around or wasting your time, the new feature is going to be these new fade outs that they've added. Basically, they made the process for fading out your WAV files way easier, and I am in love with it. You can see just by taking a look at this song here, I've been using these things all over the place. It's honestly so useful. And essentially how they work is when you zoom in on one of your WAV files, you're gonna see that there's this little triangle icon, and if you click and drag it, it's gonna create a fade out. And this extends for the entire duration of the audio clip. Like, you can move it all the way from one side to the other. On top of that, if you take this little knob in the middle, you can move it up or down to adjust how strong you want the fade out to be. And then by right clicking the knob in the middle, you can change it from a smooth curve to just a straight line, where you can just move it like this as if it's an automation. So as you guys could probably imagine, this is like a game changer for FL Studio, because usually to do a fade out like that, you would have to automate the volume, which requires way more clicking around and a lot more hassle than just moving this one little slider. And of course, this works on the other corner too. You move this, boom, you got to fade in. And one thing you may have noticed just by looking at these audio clips is that these are individualized for every single clip. So I didn't have to go through and make all of these different takes unique in order to put a fade out on them. Whenever you split an audio clip in half, it's going to create one of these little triangle icons so you can make a new fade out, which is just awesome. Like, it really just saves so much time. I've been in love with this feature. And these vocal takes right here are a perfect example for how I've been able to actually implement this new feature in my music. Basically, at the end of these lines, there's usually an S sound or like a T sound, something that ends with a consonant, not a vowel. So because I'm layering the main take of this vocal with two unison tracks, the consonants are not going to be perfectly synced up. And that's just because I'm not a robot. I'm not able to go t at the end of my sentence at the same time every single time. So what you could do to fix this is you could just cut out the consonant just by, holding Alt and moving this over a little bit. But I chose to use this fade out feature to make it so that way it's more of a smooth, gradual fade out rather than just a sudden cutoff right before the last little sound of the line.
It goes on and on to another song. Before too long, I am lost.
So you can hear in that little example right there, these two unison tracks have a st at the end of their sentences. And so by using the fade out, I made it so that way you can't really hear that anymore, which is perfect because then you only hear that st sound one time at the end of the main take.
It goes on and on to another song. Before too long, I am lost.
And that has honestly been my primary use for that feature throughout most of this song. Usually I'm just using it to fade out the end of my unison tracks, so that way the consonant at the end of the line doesn't layer with the consonant at the end of the main take. Another area where I use the fade outs is right here at the end, where I have this 4-part vocal chord playing. Basically, I'm singing a B major chord with a B as the top note and the bottom note, D sharp and F sharp in the middle. And I wanted all those notes to fade out very gradually. I didn't want it to sound like I was just singing quieter and quieter until I stopped singing. I wanted it to actually sound like it faded out, since this is the end of the song. So obviously, having this new fade out feature is kind of a lifesaver, because if I didn't have this new feature and I was still using FL Studio 20, I would have to automate all 4 of these to make the audio fade out the way I wanted. Or I suppose you could just turn up the out knob, but that, I don't know. Fuck the out knob. We're not concerned with that. This new feature mainly shines when you're working with one thing that's all one WAV file, but you want it to fade out at multiple points. So, we got new fade outs and they're awesome. It's all fine and dandy. This makes everything a lot more convenient when you're working with vocals. However, that's only like half the equation here. If you take a good look at some of these vocal takes, you can see that there's this little new number in the middle of them. And basically what they have done is they've made it so that way now there's finally a way to boost the volume of individual clips within one audio track. So you can see this is all one take. It's titled the same. It's just main take 1. I did this whole thing, just sang the whole thing, and that was the take, right? Except for this last little line at the end, which I comped in from a different take. So normally, if one part of this take was a little bit quieter than the rest, you would have to compress it, or you would have to make that specific clip unique and then boost the volume of it. Or you could automate the volume and just turn it up at that point in the song. However, now what they did was they added this little button right here, where if you click it and you drag up or down, you boost or cut the gain. And as you can see by me doing it, it only does it for that one clip. And this is honestly really cool for the people who have the demo of FL Studio, because in the demo version, you're not able to make samples unique unless you re-export them, which is just kind of a pain in the ass. Like, it can be done, but it kind of sucks. And usually whenever you're making a sample unique, that's probably the reason why you're doing it, is because you want to alter the volume of that sample at one point in the song without having it change, you know, the rest of the audio clip, or without having that sample change at a different point in the song. But now with this little knob right here, you can just turn it up, turn it down, boom, you get the same exact effect, and it saves a whole bunch of clicks, makes everything smoother, way easier to do. And another aspect to the whole fade out thing is that if you take two audio clips and smash them together, you could see it automatically starts creating a fade out for you. And I think that's pretty cool too. I mean, sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain if you don't want the fade out, because then you have to like go through and, you know, try to make it so that way the fade out isn't there anymore, which, you know, is a little bit of a hassle, but not really. I think it's definitely better to have a fade out automatically created when you smash two clips together and then have to undo it, than it is to have to try to automate it and make fade outs from nothing, or having to come into here and then go over here to out only and then move it down to generic. I don't know, overall it just simplifies a lot of things. It makes everything way easier, way more intuitive, especially for people who are new to the DAW, or people who are just new to producing in general. Definitely lowers the barrier of entry a little bit, and that's something I can totally get behind. And lastly, a little bonus feature I found is over here, when you're trying to select multiple things, you can just hold Control and drag down. Honestly, this is the way it always should have been. In FL Studio 20 and before, you have to click each one individually. You can't drag down. But now, you can just drag for as long as you want. So yeah, that's a pretty cool feature too. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. I know it's nothing crazy this week, but I kind of wanted to just showcase this new feature for you guys, you know, so that way some of you who haven't updated your FL Studio yet can go and do that. So yep, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you found the video entertaining, maybe even a little bit educational. Leave a like if you would like, and I will catch you next time. Fool.